What is happening, everybody? Well, today is day 0 of the Game Dev Like a Psychopath journey. What does that mean? Well, that means I quit my job. Today was the last day, which means tomorrow is the first day of full-time game dev and no money coming in. So you have to be kind of a psychopath to try to do this, right? Which is where channel name comes from. You have to game dev like a psychopath in order to make this work, because there ain't no money coming in otherwise. So here we go. So for anybody who's new, hasn't been following my other channel, the deal is I got really sick of working. I hate my career. Everything sucks. So I quit. And now I'm going to make games. I've been making games. I've been making like mostly sports games off and on for last 20 some years. I think I probably released, 5 games, 3 of them before Steam was even a thing. So I go back a little ways. They've all been flops. Like, I haven't made any money on any of these games. So obviously I think I this is a way to support myself, right? Release 5 games that didn't make any money. Obviously become a professional game developer. So that's what we're doing. I don't know. We'll see how it works. Being that this is day 0, I don't really have a lot figured out yet. I thought I had it figured out, and then my work actually ended, and I walked out of work my last day, and then I kind of realized that maybe I got to rethink a few things and figure this out a little bit better. So that's where we're going to start. First off, let's talk about what do we have to work with. Well, here is my time before Sean jumps off a bridge overlay, or what do we call this? A banner. What is this? What does this all mean? Well, we're going to track how well I'm doing. One, because it's interesting and fun to talk about, and this is a pretty raw game dev channel. That's the kind of stuff we like to see, right? The other thing is, like, it's kind of fun for me to go back and watch these things and just sort of see how things worked out, or where did they go wrong, or why did you have a nervous breakdown around that time? This is the height of my YouTube technology right here, right? This right here. Don't expect a lot out of my YouTube, out of this channel. It's a lot of there's going to be a lot of me just turning the camera on and just riffing. So if you're into that, this is where you're going to want to be. I'll probably draw. We're going to draw today a little bit. My drawings are terrible. Whatever. That's what we're going to do. We might do I might show live game dev some days. We might stream. I don't know, whatever we're going to do. Think of this channel as me going through my game dev journey, trying to keep a little bit of my sanity. That's really what this is, right? Being a game dev is a lonely journey, and it'll make you crazy, and we all go a little mad sometimes. I'm just going to share the madness with you guys. So anyway, this is what's going to make me mad. So we're going to keep track of this, right? Game dev money. Over here. $0. I have 2 games on Steam right now, and Steam likes to send me an email every month to remind me that I'm not making any money. So Steam just sent me my monthly "we didn't give you any money" email. So $0. That's what we're working with to support myself. I'm working with $0. So very smart. The broke section right there. That is how much money I have saved up. How long can I live on that money, right? Before I just run out of savings. February 2027. It is June 4th, 2026 right now. Not a ton of time, but I don't know. I'm pretty fast at getting games done. Seems like I have at least a shot, one decent shot to make a little bit of extra money to release another game. So we'll see how that goes. The Bankrupt, that's like my emergency money from the money I'm hoping to keep so I can buy a house. But also, you'll spend it if you instead of being homeless. So I would prefer not to have to dip into that, but if I have to, I have until October of 2028. So not a super long runway, but also not like I'm not up against it yet, right? I got a few months to figure this out. The other cool thing is I have a couple of games in the pipeline. I have a bunch of other games early in the pipe. Like I have a lot of games in the pipeline. Two of them a little farther along than others. So I'm not starting at zero right now. I got a whole back catalog of like fully fleshed out prototypes. I got some games that have been quite a bit of the ways through development. I got one right now that's getting pretty close to being like beta ready. So we're not starting from zero, but it would be better if I had some game dev money. So we're going to hope to fix that. All right. So let's get down to business. I'm going to try to figure out how do I want to do this? We'll share this screen. We're going to do a little drawing. There we go. Where are we going to put me? We'll put me down here. Okay. So here we go. Let's start with what do we know? What? This is the funny thing, right? Before I walked out my last day, I thought I had a plan. And then now I'm kind of like not. I gotta think through this plan a little bit more. So I basically here's what the plan was as of yesterday. I got this game I'm calling Map Game. Ooh, this looks nice. Okay. This is the one. It's I'll show a little more in the future as we get going, but like I'm just setting the stage today. This thing is kind of, I would say, if you look at, let's look at a timeline. We say like prototype, PROTO. Then we say something like, I don't know, beta. No, not beta. Let's go. Alpha, beta, launch. Right? If those are the categories, Map Game is probably somewhere about here. I've got a Steam page. It's pretty much done. I just I have to progress some of the interface a little bit more so that I can have some good screenshots to finish up the Steam page, but then and then just tighten it up so it's playable. That's kind of where this is. So it's fairly well along. We're going to probably do demo right around October. Because that's when the next fest is. Not the next one, but like the one I'm going to be able to hit. Next fest. So I'm going to try to hit the next fest with the demo in October. And then that means I'm going to launch sometimes in November. So that's kind of what I'm thinking about for Map Game, right? Then we have, can't use that color for Cyber League 2. I'm also working on Cyber League 2 because burnout is a huge thing I got to worry about. And if I get too into a single project, I'm going to probably burn myself out. So I always have to have a second project going just so that like if I just can't bring myself to work on one, I don't have to force it. I can just like jump over to the other project and just work on that. That seems to like be okay for me. So I'm going to do something like that. Again, we're talking about right now what the plan was as of yesterday. Cyber League 2, obviously there was a Cyber League 1. So like we're way past the prototype stage. We're probably somewhere pretty close to the same. Actually, you know what? We're probably not quite that far. Probably just a little bit less than where Map Game is. I'm going to copy over. I like most of the stuff in Cyber League 1. There's just a few things I really want to change. But a lot of it's going to be, there's going to be a lot of cut and paste from other games that I've made. So like, I like the gameplay of Cyber League 1. I'm going to keep most of that. I like a lot of the team management from Desktop Dynasties 3. So I'm going to bring a lot of that over. Like there's an auction system that I really like from one of my I think it was like might have been in head coach football. The basically there's this auction system that I wrote for college transfer portal, which basically it was just kind of a really cool way of doing the transfer portal versus like the real life way, which is really stupid. So I'm going to bring some of that over and, you know, just so Cyber League 2 is going to be pretty quick. But in general, the high level plan was I really wanted to do this also in Next Fest. And I didn't know when I really didn't know when I wanted to launch. I did want to hit the October Next Fest because I was thinking about launching kind of in the kind of that November timeframe. But now that I think about it more, I don't know if I want to do that. So I'm just going to put that question aside for today and we'll get to like why in a second here. But this kind of was the plan. And then what was going to happen, like I hate to say it, but I didn't really have a plan for what happens after here. And I didn't really have a plan for, okay, if I don't launch in November, what do I do with this? And if I do launch in November, what do I do next? I really have no plan. I thought I had a plan in my head, but now that I don't have a job and this has kind of become real, I'm sort of realizing that maybe my plan needs some more work. And maybe this isn't exactly how I want to go about this. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. So let's stop that. Let's get me back here. So that's where we're starting. That's the game dev plan as of like until I walked out of the building today. I think what I'm going to do is tomorrow is day 1 of Psychopath Game Dev. I think what I'm going to do tomorrow is try to spend most of the day coming up with a more legit plan. I think, like I said, this is something I always fall back on, right? My bread and butter, I mean, for like 30 years, my whole career has been how do you get really big projects done really effectively and fast. I need to lean on all those skills that I've been building in my professional career for 30 years. That's what's going to make me successful, right? That's my secret sauce in this industry. So I got to lean on that, which means I got to take some time and really come up with a good plan up front. Not just like I just drew out, like, oh, I'm going to do this game and then I'm going to launch here, and then I'm going to do this game and I'm going to launch here. That's not enough. That's not what professional Sean would do. What professional Sean would do, let's draw it out. I'll show you what professional Sean would do, and you'll see what the difference is. I gotta figure out how to move my windows around again. You'd think I know how to do this. I've been using the same software for like 3 years. You'd be wrong though, because I have to figure it out every single time. All right, so let's do a new layer. Let's get rid of that one. So here's what professional Sean would do. First, he would say, all right, why are we doing map game? What's the point of map game? What are we trying to accomplish right there? So we would say something like the goal of this would be like, and I'm just going to do it quickly because I have to actually spend a lot of time thinking about this, right? But we're going to say, oh, it's a small, fast, tight, right? Launch. Let's just say the goal of map game was to make as tight a game as possible and to launch as fast as possible, right? So then I would also say the same thing about Cyber League. I would say, all right, what's the point of Cyber League 2? And let's just say, well, the point actually of this one is the engine, the game engine. And the style. Like, let's just say, right? Let's say that's why I'm making it, is because one, I love the game engine, which is actually true. And that's actually kind of why I'm making it, because the Cyber League engine is fun. I just didn't push it to its potential last time. So then I would say something along the lines of, okay, well, now if we look at what are we doing? How do we then take whatever our goals are? Yeah, again, I got to spend more time thinking about this, but I would then also say like, all right, that's our goal. Like, how do we get there? What else do we get out of this? And then how do we use for the next project? Right. So like you kind of just like start breaking down this idea, right? I want to make something to make some money is not enough. And if you kind of think about this, what I'm getting at over here is how do I leverage in the long game? That's what I'm getting at over here. This is what I'm getting at over here is I understand the scope. And what I'm getting over here is this is all about execution plan, right? So this is how I'm going to start breaking down these ideas. It's like, understand really what are these products, understand how to execute it most effectively. And then also and this is the biggest part of it, is I want to really I really want to think through, because I'm only one person, every game that I make has to be a springboard to something else, right? I can't just make map game and then when map game's done, I start at 0 on the next game. That doesn't make any sense, because then I'm always starting from 0. I'm just wasting time, right? What I'm going to end up with is, instead of one product line that builds on itself and gets better and better and better, what I'm going to end up with is like 5 product lines who are all mediocre and never improve. So like there's benefits to that too. Like maybe if I do have 5 completely different product lines, maybe I'm rolling the dice 5 times. So one could be popular and the other 4 could suck. Like that's one way to think about it, but that's not how I think about it. I'm kind of been schooled in the product development pipeline process. And you never just make one thing knowing that it's going to end when you're done. You make one thing knowing that the second thing you're going to make is going to build off the first thing, so that the second thing is the next generation. And then the third thing is a next generation on the second thing, because you're always improving and getting better and moving farther. so that like when you get to like the 5th or 6th generation, what your product is light years ahead of where your first generation was. That's kind of how I'm looking at this. And you can see by my previous layer, right? When I bring this one up, before I really kind of sat down and thought about it as if, hey, this is real and I got to figure this out. I was looking at it as I'm just making a product in isolation. And when that product launches, I'm going to get money. Ooh, Cabo. All right. We gotta close that. All right. So I got to get out of that short-term mindset. I got to start thinking long game. So I haven't really done that very well lately. So I'm going to take tomorrow and I'm going to think this through. I'm going to do the same thing with Cyber League. I kind of have, I've started this process in Cyber League, right? I can do much better though and plan it out a little bit farther down the road because I haven't really planned it out far enough. So like an example with Cyber League, would I have been thinking about a little more than the map game, just because I've made this game already before, right? So I got like game engine. What else can we do with that? Well, I could use that game engine in a human pro game. I can use it in a human college game. I can use it in a coach mode game. I can use it in a hockey game. I can use it in a basketball game. Right? Like the engine itself, how players move and how they make decisions can be used. I've written it in a way it can't, if I like refine some things, that it then can be used in future games. And I have to make sure to write it in a way that I can just port it over to the next game so that the next game doesn't have to start from zero. It starts with a fully functional engine, player movement and AI engine, and it just has to tweak the rules for whatever game I'm making, right? So then that's how it fits into the long game. Like maybe you make a pro game first because it's more popular, and the goal of the pro game is the roster management, right? And maybe player development, and maybe scouting. Well, then all those things would then also move into the college game. So now when the college game starts, it has a game engine that works. It has roster management that works. It's got player development that works, and it's got scouting that works. Now the college game only needs to develop a very small subset of all of the things that go into a college game, right? So like that, those are the things I got to think through. I don't want to waste the time of starting from scratch every time. And the other thing, I didn't really touch on this too much, but the other thing I want to look at is the execution plan across products. Am I planning it out so that it makes sense? Like one thing you don't want to do is that one, I don't want to launch 2 games at the same time because that would be a nightmare to support. Number 2, I also don't want to have a game sitting on the shelf for like 4 or 5, 6 months because it's the wrong time to launch. That's the other thing I don't want to do. And, kind of when I look at this, when I look at the short term thinking plan over here, it makes me nervous that I don't really know when Cyber League 2 should launch. And I'm kind of setting up a scenario where I'm either going to launch both at the same time or Cyber League 2 is going to sit on the shelf because I won't launch it. You don't want to launch it in December or January because people are tired of football games by December and January. Like nobody's buying football games. So you're kind of just waiting for the playoffs now, right? The excitement has kind of run its course. Now you're in the slog of the season. like you don't really want to launch a football game in February because the Super Bowl just got done and everybody's like, okay, season's over. Great. The last thing I'm going to do is go buy another football game right away. So now you're talking like March, April, maybe, because that's when you get to the NFL draft and interest starts ramping back up again, specifically in like April. So I'm like, all right, do I really want to sit on Cyber League 2 till April? If the answer is, yeah, I'm going to launch Cyber League 2 in April, well, then do I adjust? Like, do I adjust the timeline portion of it so that it's not just sitting on the shelf for 4 months, right? 4 or 5 months. Like maybe I do something different. I don't know. Those are the kind of things I got to figure out. So I'm going to try to figure that all out tomorrow. Hopefully, if I get it figured out, we'll do a little video just because I get like, this is how I remember things. I'll watch the video back and that's how I'm going to remember stuff. like I said, it's going to be raw, right? So we're going to take day one. That's what we're going to do. Hopefully I don't get stuck, and I think I can get it all figured out one day, I hope. I mean, I've been thinking about this stuff for a while. So it feels like one day is reasonable to get it all down on paper and just fill in the gaps, but I don't know. I hope it doesn't take more than one day. At least enough so that I have a plan between now and like the end of the year. If I can just like be really certain about that and really certain about the next gen for whatever the next gen of the next products are, if I can just have like this gen and the next gen figured out, like the third gen, I'm okay if that's not 100%, but we got to start somewhere. We got to be smart because it's real now. It's real. This is game dev like a psychopath now. And this is happening. So anyway, that's all I got for today. Stay tuned. Because these videos are going to be so raw and they're going to be a lot of like just me figuring it out as I go. I don't know when they're going to show up. You might get one every day for a week, and then you might not see another one for another week. Like, I don't know. Sorry. I'm not that predictable. It's improv. It's going to be improv all the time. So I hope you like that. If you do, stick around. If you don't, I don't know how you ended up here because like literally everything I've done on YouTube is improv. So kudos to the algorithm for bringing you here. I love you, but you're going to hate this if you hate improv. Give it a chance though. What the heck? All right. That's it for today. Wish me luck. See ya.